Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you are watching the Mojo story. As the war between Israel and Hamas rages on for the last 2 3 days, the big talking point is that whether the Hamas militants who infiltrated into Israel on Saturday kill infants. That's been the topic of debate for the last 2 days. But for now, there is a official confirmation coming from none other than Israeli Prime Minister, who has said that who has in fact shared those photos of small infants who were killed by Hamas. We're taking a considered decision. We are not showing those photos on this broadcast, but clearly Benjamin Netanyahu has tweeted and said that those photographs were shown to US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Those are very horrifying photos of babies murdered and burned by Hamas monsters. Hamas is inhuman. Hamas is ISIS. That's what the tweet says. And it's also been corroborated by the Jerusalem Post. The Jerusalem Post has also reported that they've seen those photos of infants being killed. You can see that tweet on the screen. So clearly, that really lays to rest this debate that's going on, whether the Hamas gunmen killed those small babies, those children. There were earlier reports that 40 children were killed and some of them decapitated when they launched that attack inside Israeli territory. It was first reported by journalists who went to South Israel and gave dispatch from that war zone. They, in fact, reported that children have been killed, infants have been killed, quoting Israeli soldiers and Israeli army officers on the ground. In fact, some of the army officers reported to media that children have been killed, and then followed an intense debate on the social media, while Western media clearly said that the infants and babies have been murdered. Some of the media organizations like Anadolu News said that Israeli army officers had told them that nothing of that sort has happened. And then President Biden, in fact, said that he's seen those pictures, which was later clarified in a White House statement that he was perhaps quoting media reports. But clearly now there's an official confirmation, and those photos that have been released by Israel, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has released those photos, which are clearly very, very graphic image. We can't show on this broadcast, but it clearly shows infants, small babies who were killed in that attack by Hamas, a report that's also been corroborated by the Jerusalem Post. So clearly, in that attack in southern Israel, it's not just the elderly men and others who were killed by Hamas, but also small babies were targeted. And now those photos have been shared by the Prime Minister's office, and Benjamin Netanyahu has shown those photos to US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Remember, there was a surprise attack carried out by Hamas on the weekend in which more than 1,200 people in Israeli territory have been killed, and 120 people have been abducted by the Hamas and taken to Gaza, where they have kept them as hostage. And Israel promptly launched air attacks onto Gaza and destroyed many of those places where they believe that terrorists are hiding. But clearly, the ground offensive has not been launched yet. But the rockets are still coming from that area, Gaza, into Israel, and Israel has launched this counterattack in which many, some say hundreds of people in Gaza have been killed in that retaliation by Israel. You can see people on the road carrying Israeli flags, even as the tanks are rolling onto the roads and going towards the front lines. So this has really brought the nation together. This attack by Hamas, as war raged on, many of the places in Hamas where Israelis believed there are terrorists hiding have been destroyed. Israeli Air Force has been releasing those photos, but clearly the big story, the big news right now is that infants have actually been killed in that attack that was carried out by Hamas, and some of the photos that have been shared by Israeli Prime Minister. And not just that, earlier in the day, photos were shared of charred bodies in a car when that attack took place. Those are all graphic images which we cannot show on this broadcast, but we've seen those images. So clearly, even as this war rages on, Israel is showing the atrocities that were committed by Hamas. There are also reports on the other side that paramedics were targeted in Israeli counterattack, and many civilians, many children have been killed in Gaza in those Israeli airstrikes. But clearly, this war is raging on. But for the first time, we've got this confirmation from the Israeli Prime Minister, is releasing those photos of infants, of babies who they say were killed in that attack which was carried out by Hamas. We'll keep reporting and updating on this story as and when we get more detail. But for now, thanks for watching.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.